So what would a legal, regulated marijuana market look like? In some respects, we already have a fairly good idea. State-licensed coffee shops in the Netherlands have legally sold small amounts of cannabis to patrons 18 years of age or older for more than 2 decades. While Dutch lawmakers have made minor adjustments to the law over time, for instance limiting the quantity of cannabis that consumers may purchase to no more than 5 grams and imposing restrictions on the number of licensed coffee houses that may operate in communities that reside near the country's borders, few have ever suggested repealing the government's long-standing legalization model. How does the Dutch system work? It's fairly simple, actually. Consumers of proper age who possess a valid ID may legally enter a coffee shop, which typically resembles a conventional bar or cafe. Once inside, patrons may elect to either sit at a table or at the counter, where they may order any number of cannabis-based goods. Most coffee shops dispense pot in both herbal or edible preparations from a bartender or waiter. Customers select the item or items they desire from a menu. The menu provides information on the types of marijuana available, including its potency and intoxicating effects, as well as its price, in a manner that is little different from how most of us would order a beer or a sandwich at a popular restaurant. What's the specialty of the house, one might ask, or what do you recommend? After placing their order, the waitstaff brings the desired items to the patrons, who may elect to consume their marijuana on the premises. Like most traditional bars or cafes, most coffee shops offer a variety of food, beverages, and live entertainment, or take it home with them for later use. While many Americans are somewhat familiar with the Dutch system described above, far fewer realize that there are other examples of legal cannabis regulation available closer to home. Notably, in California, hundreds of storefront businesses dispense cannabis openly to authorized consumers, those who possess a physician's written recommendation, in accordance with state and local laws. Similar operations also exist, though on a far more limited basis, in Canada, where the medicinal use of marijuana is legal under federal law, as well as in Oregon and Colorado, where medical cannabis use is also permitted under state law. Like most other commercial enterprises, California's medical marijuana facilities, more commonly referred to as dispensaries or cooperatives, must be locally licensed, pay state and municipal sales tax, and abide by community zoning regulations. For example, in most cities, cooperatives are not allowed within close proximity to schools or churches, and their frontage must refrain from displaying any overt references to the cannabis plant. Entry to these facilities is limited only to those who possess proper authorization, and a patron's identification is typically verified at the door. Would-be customers who fail to show a valid doctor's note or a state-issued medical marijuana identification card to the dispensary's door manager are not allowed inside the premises. The floor plan of an American cannabis dispensary varies from business to business. Some establishments are designed to closely resemble the look and feel of a traditional medical pharmacy, while others are designed like a cafe or coffee house, replete with couches, chairs, and tables so that patients may congregate and socialize. In most California dispensaries, cannabis-based products are inconspicuously located in a separate room away from the store's main lobby area. Other facilities provide patrons with an illustrated menu and do not display their products out in the open at all. At least 1 or 2 staff members, commonly known as bud tenders, are available to answer patrons' questions regarding the numerous types of marijuana-based products offered for sale and their effects. Like in the Netherlands, California dispensaries typically sell marijuana in a variety of preparations, including herbal cannabis, edibles, and tinctures. However, unlike in the Netherlands, most dispensaries do not allow patrons to utilize cannabis on the premises. Many of the rules and standards governing the sale of marijuana in California have developed over time. Prior to the passage of statewide medical marijuana legalization in 1996, a handful of communities such as San Francisco, Oakland, and Los Angeles acted on their own to implement local ordinances legalizing the establishment of cannabis cooperatives. Following the passage of California Compassionate Use Act of 1996, additional dispensaries began operating all throughout the state, though these facilities were not technically legal under state law until some years later. California's legislature eventually codified the sale and distribution of cannabis by licensed businesses in 2004. By 2008, even California's Attorney General had issued formal guidelines articulating legal business practices for the distribution of cannabis by dispensaries. These guidelines were incorporated after legislators engaged in extensive meetings with representatives from the patient community and dispensary owners. A handbook outlining best business practices for the community-based distribution of cannabis is also available on the Internet.